And on the line, we've got State Representative Mike Ball. Representative Ball, how are you this morning, sir?
I am just doing wonderful.
Well, I'm glad to hear that. You are so you're out of town. You're out at you got a conference going on or something, huh?
Yeah, I have an echo. I hope you all ain't picking it up.
We don't have it here with us.
It's a global leadership. Okay, well, I'll just talk and try to ignore it, which sometimes we have to ignore the noise, particularly if we're trying to get anything done in politics.
Hey.
I'm at a global leadership conference. It's a Christian group that's getting together and transform our world is what it is. And I'm kind of doubling it with my honeymoon. I just got married last Sunday to this wonderful woman, and I'm enjoying some quality time.
Well, congratulations.
Congratulations.
Did we lose you, Representative Ball?
No. I was just waiting for y'all to get me started on whatever you want to talk about.
Oh yeah. So I mean, I think it's pretty straightforward. We've got some upcoming legislation attempting to legalize medical marijuana. Obviously, something that the state of Alabama has historically probably not going to be very receptive to, and so I just wanted to talk with you through that a little bit. I mean, it's something that you're kind of championing, and honestly, I wanted to kind of get your 2 cents and have you walk us through this.
Well, first of all, people confuse. They overreact when marijuana comes up. It's one of those hot button political issues, and quite frankly, it creates so much passion for and against that a lot of people have just kind of shut their brains off. I got sucked into this in October of 2013 with an email from a grandmother whose granddaughter was suffering from debilitating seizures, and I think this is the first time you and I have chatted, but I spent a career in law enforcement before I got into politics, and I was always one of those no on marijuana. It's the devil's weed. I bought into what I now realize has been a long propaganda effort to really demonize it. That doesn't mean that it shouldn't be illegal. I don't support it recreationally. But what happened was, back in the 70s, the federal government did this huge overreaction. They put it Schedule 1. They said no medical value, and they classified it with the most dangerous drugs. And they arbitrarily said there's no medical value. Well, now we know that people can be helped. As a matter of fact, but what our current policy, the way we're approaching it right now, the only people that we're not keeping those people away from it that want to abuse marijuana. They can get pot. What we're doing is we're keeping people who can use it in a way that the Lord intended it to be used when the Lord created this substance. It can be used to help to ease pain and ease suffering and help and heal. And we need to find a way to allow doctors in a controlled environment for these people to have a controlled product that can help them get well or at least ease their pain in a lot of different things. And the evidence is overwhelming, but people have become so propagandized about this that the opposition, it's shrinking, but there's still some opposition. I will tell you that as we have gone through this since that day, and I will tell you, if I've ever done anything that's led the Spirit of the Lord, it has been this. And I will tell you, as I've taken the steps and just done the best I can, and just tried to follow that and let the Spirit of the Lord do the work on hearts, because men don't change hearts, the Lord changes hearts. If we're in the right spirit, and if we exercise truth and grace, eventually the fear and ignorance which resist it will collapse. And we have made great progress. We've passed a very good bill that was well thought through by people who are much smarter than me. Senator Tim Melson, who is a medical research out of Florence, has sponsored and developed it and done a great deal of work. I think the bill that we have in Alabama is probably I think it hits the sweet spot on this particular issue. It's passed out of the Senate twice, and the first time it died in the House because it moved so fast, it caught the leadership flat-footed, and they weren't ready to do it. We had a good bill then, and so they were afraid. So I was willing to back off that session. I believe I had the votes in the House to pass it, but we were willing to back off. And we let a study group be appointed that publicly looked into it, of a panel of experts, very medical heavy, a lot of doctors on it. And we publicly had a hearing, and this is the bill that we came up with. There's a report out that the commission had, and this bill, it flew through the Senate last year, and it got up in the House. I believe the Health Committee was going to act on it. I believe the votes were there. I believe we had the votes to pass it last year. Then this COVID thing hit. So here we are.
One question for you. I'm curious about, you said the way the Lord intended it to be used, and I would be curious to hear where you derive from Scripture that the old devil's lettuce was created by the King Jesus to be used by us in this way.
Okay. Thank you. Thanks for asking that question. And the old devil's lettuce.
I'm messing with you there.
I guess you don't realize.
I'm messing with you a little bit.
Okay.
I
didn't know whether you were serious or not.
No.
But I'm
the funny man.
I have a sense of humor. Okay. Well, I am too normally, but on this, I understand that I get a little wild on it. Sure. Because, but let me get back to that. And I don't want to get into a nitpicking, pulling up Scripture. Me and you, we can have Bible study together later. Sure. If you want to. I'd love to do that. But I'm going to say this. As a believer, that all things that God created, He created with a purpose in mind. And God's purposes are good, always good. And everything He created with a good purpose. What happens is, man will take things that God created, and a lot of times men will use God's creation that He created for good, and they will use it for bad.
Sure.
And here's the thing, and what happened, I do know this. I know that healing is good. Jesus Christ is the ultimate healer. He heals souls and He heals bodies. And the thing is, and I know that people's lives have been saved using this, that there is a legitimate medical use for it, and if this can be used for healing, it would be the purpose for which God intended.
Okay.
So, Representative Ball, thank you for bringing that up and adding on to that a little bit. So I think the evidence is there that medically there is a place for this inside treatment.
Yes.
How do we keep, or how is the legislation set up to keep that from opening Pandora's box so that it isn't more accessible to kids? As a parent myself, that would be something that I would be concerned about.
Sure. There are a ton of safeguards in this legislation. First of all, people would have to have a card. Quite frankly, if people who are bound and determined to abuse drugs, first of all, this will be more expensive, for one thing, than what you could buy stuff on the street for. Second of all, we've got the drugs that are being used now. Kids can get a hold of it. There's no perfect mechanism to prevent this from happening. We're in an opioid epidemic now, but what this bill would do, it would create a commission that would issue the cards. It would only be allowed to be manufactured by folks who are licensed, properly inspected by the State Department of Agriculture. There are safeguards throughout in this bill to make sure that it could only be dispensed from authorized dispensaries, and there would be controls in this. So it's just not very likely that this would increase the problem that we already have at this level, like this bill has. I understand the fear. But what they fear is already here. Now, this bill this is not going out and buying a bag of dope like people are thinking. No plant material could be sold. As a matter of fact, we were willing to say it couldn't be sold in any form that could be inhaled, except cancer patients and people who need treatment for extreme pain. They need to be able to inhale it to get the pain control to them quickly. So if for in the inhalable form, it would have to be through an inhaler.
Well, Representative Ball, I certainly lived in Colorado for a time, and so I've seen and that's right. There's a lot of recreational out there, right? And so I don't know where I land. I'm with Scott. I think the evidence for the medical side of it certainly is compelling. I will be curious to see what the state of Alabama does with this. I certainly appreciate your time and would love to talk to you again soon on our show. You're welcome to feel free to call in anytime to our show. But again, thank you so much for your time, Representative Ball. Any last words?
You're welcome. Well, here's what I'm saying. Just keep an open mind. Remember this: there is a medical purpose. People are suffering. People can be helped. If there had been a way that the medical people could have developed cannabis for the treat of pain and a lot of other things instead of opioid, there's been countless people that have died because government overreacted to this and kept this away from the hands of medical people. This ain't Alabama, ain't Colorado. Alabama ain't California. What this is about healing, and I will tell you, I know the Lord I serve, and I know what I've been following, and quite frankly, nothing I've done has not been scriptural. And I'm not invoking that, but I know what it is that I'm following, so I'm going to keep following.
I respect that, and I hope that you do, and I appreciate your obedience to what God's called you to, certainly. And as someone who's experienced addiction to opiates, I can tell you that it is a very unforgiving ball game to get yourself into. You're listening to the Dale Jackson Show. You got myself, legendary Will Hampson, Scott Harbor. When we return, we want to hear from you. 866-494-9866. We want to hear from you. What do you think about medical marijuana in Alabama? We will be right back.